Well, people want to know why I don't just go to the grocery store. One of the comments that really gets me is like, why don't you go to the grocery store?
Season 2 and Season 3 of Alone. What are your thoughts on the show? What do you want to get on the show now? Do you still want to try at it?
Like, I'm superior to you because I don't eat porcupines.
Catch and cook a rat video in your exact style of filming. Hunting, all that hunting stuff aside, what is your goals for your future with YouTube? What's your favorite YouTubers? I'm Zachary Fowler.
And that's the Wooded Beardsman. And this is
Season 4 of the Wilderness Living Challenge.
The goal of the challenge is to gain or maintain our body weight while eating nothing but wild foods. So last October, I headed up to the backwoods of Canada to meet up with the Wooded Beardsman and do just that for 7 days. Last time on Wilderness Living Challenge Season 4, we were done with the eating wild, but we didn't want the adventure to end, so we head on out to meet up with fellow YouTuber Adam Craig Outdoors for one last little go at something, a goose hunt. And then a little bit of trying to teach the Wooded Beardsman how to shoot the slingshot and back to Maine.
I'll shoot the cub.
Good to be back in America.
Daddy!
Hi!
I miss you, Daddy.
I miss you too, honey.
I filmed this last October. It was the last thing I filmed before I left Canada and my time with him up there. It has no spoilers in it because we filmed it so we might air it before our Wilderness Living Challenge videos came out, but due to scheduling, you saw those came out way later this year. This is pretty much just the two of us talking. I didn't add a lot of video clips in. I would encourage you to listen to it kind of like a podcast. If you have YouTube Red, you can listen to it with your screen off, in your pocket, headphones on, while you're outside doing some yard work. So, enjoy.
All right, so you got some questions? Or some answers?
Yeah, so
if you
what
have answers, I'll ask you questions.
We should interview you. So what is it, what questions do people want to know that they always want to ask you? Because you don't do live streams like I do.
Never.
But people can ask you, why don't you ever smile on the cover?
People don't ask on the cover?
Yeah, on the covers.
I don't know, I guess it's weird to smile.
It's weird to smile.
After you're killing something, right? I just don't.
You don't feel like it's a good thing to be like, oh my god.
I don't know. It's just it's kind of a moment, right? It's just, I guess you just feel proud, but I don't feel like I'm happy.
Yeah.
When I'm showing something, I just don't feel like I'm happy. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm sad either. It's just like part of, cycle of life kind of thing. So it's not like I'm bothered by it, and I'm not like celebrating it either. It's just kind of neutral at that point where, yeah. I don't know, I'm not making a big deal out of it, right? It's more for the thumbnail for YouTube, right?
Right.
So, if I got a big deer with big antlers, I'd be proud of it, but that's only because, not I'm a trophy hunter, it's just that it happens so rarely. It's been like 10 years since I've got a really big mature deer with antlers. So that's like, you're proud and happy of that, but I probably wouldn't put on a big smile for it. Smiling on the inside, I guess.
Smiling on the inside.
Yeah. Even normal pictures, I guess I don't smile all that much.
I got one picture, I'll put it right here, you can see I caught him smiling accidentally. He let it slip and I got a picture of it.
Well, people want to know why I don't just go to the grocery store. That's like the most common thing. Why are you killing a cute animal? Why are you killing an quote-unquote endangered animal? Why are you not going to the grocery store? Why are you still getting food when you already have food? It's so unnecessary. That's like one of the biggest things that people write on the channel. We're kind of just passing through, and the reason is because I guess I just feel compelled to go out and hunt. It's just something that I would do anyway, and I think it's a better way to feed myself, and I think it's a better way to live life, to go out and pursue animals that are living in a natural habitat. They're healthier, they're not grain fed, they're not full of hormones, they're living a natural life, and they're used to being chased by predators anyway, so it's not a cruel thing. They're experiencing predation all the time, and they're designed to try to escape people, so I think it's just a more natural way to live. It just seems better all around. There's no downside to it as far as I can tell, except for the little bit of suffering that an animal might go through, when you're killing it. But, if an animal didn't suffer, it would have nothing in it to try to escape a hunter. So.
I never felt that urge to hunt all that much after a couple years of hunting myself up in Maine and as a kid in Vermont, never really being successful because there isn't a lot there. There's a lot of hunters already there. But after being up here with him, and we've been running around hunting our butts off, doing the Wilderness Living Challenge for 7 days, you'll have to check that out. So, but now that we've done this, and we've been 7 days eating wild, running around, hunting and gathering everything we can, and I think we did pretty good. I think you guys will think we did pretty good. You'll have to watch it to find out. I got the bug. Now I'm like, I want to come up next year and get a bear tag, and I want to come up next year and do better than I did this year. I felt like I skunked myself a couple times, being hesitant. Been 3 years since I really shot a gun, and I came up and I managed to get some grouse and things, but like.
Well, so that's a good question to throw back to you. Is like, you've seen all the wild spaces we have. Have we made a dent in the population?
Oh, not even nearly. No.
Right?
No.
Did we kill the last duck and grouse?
No.
Did we fish the last fish?
No.
Did we burn too many trees?
No.
Are there some left out there?
The animals, they move, they do their thing. There's lots of them.
There's piles of them. We're not doing anything by hunting them.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything to the population by taking a few.
No.
We're taking the weaker ones, the unlucky ones sometimes. But there's lots of them left.
Yeah.
We're not damaging the population of Canada, and the more like there's a lot more remote places that we haven't even touched or looked at.
Oh, I think anybody that knows anything that's studied the subject, they know that the government's, Canadian Indians, the Canadian government and the U.S. government, they do regulatory laws. We bought hunting tags, and they have the amount of animals that we're allowed to take, bag limits and things like that. And we're not even that good that we're able to manage to hit our bag limits anyway. So,
not even close. It's not because there's not a lot of animals. It's because animals are a lot smarter.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And we put the work in.
That's the exercise that you get out of hunting.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because you're almost burning as many calories as you're producing back as far as getting game. And you're just dumping those calories back in the environment.
There was a couple of days there we burnt more calories than we took in.
For sure.
I mean, if it wasn't for the stockpiles that we had. And
using
stuff.
a gun is not cheating, not in this environment.
No.
It's leveling the playing field a little bit. It's making it possible, but it's not making it guaranteed, and sometimes it's not even making it probable. So like if you do it out 10 times, you'd have a good chance. But you go once, the chances of you getting something on one try is almost zero.
Yeah.
It's
unless it's a grouse, and then you just.
Well, the harder you work. But I've gone a whole weekend walking around 10 hours a day, 2 days in a row, and not got a grouse.
So we've just been really lucky on the grouse.
We've driven around, we've covered lots of ground.
Yeah.
And we're going into places that I wouldn't maybe necessarily do. Like if I go around the city here, where there's a lot of hunting pressure, there's not a lot of birds. But if you go 2 hours outside that bubble, there's a lot more game. So it's really about getting outside of the small bubble where you think, the most amount of pressure is. But all the excess animals are kind of moving back into the bubble as you deplete the bubble area, so they're coming back. So it's not like you're going to extirpate all the grouse. It's impossible.
So we've mentioned the Wilderness Living Challenge, but people that are just tuning in and are given a glimpse of it, like, what is the Wilderness Living Challenge? That sounds interesting, I would think, to any of my viewers. You came up with the idea. What is the Wilderness Living Challenge, and how did you come up with it?
Yeah, I came up with it after watching all the survival shows. The current survival shows are minimal gear. They drop you off in a specific environment, and the goal is just to live, in the case of alone, as long as you possibly can before you tap out. And then there's 21-day series, and then there's a 40-day series. I think that's Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
But they're all, none of them cares about whether you can thrive long term. And so the wilderness living means be able to live in the wild for indefinitely, right? It's not just like time stamped. So after 21 days, if you make it, you're okay. Okay, so we've already done the experiment. We've seen Naked and Afraid. People can last 21 days, people can last 40, and in your case you can last 87 days. But I found a lot of it was like the common crux was living off of like a small amount of food, not matching calories, and then using body reserves. So my idea was like, let's get off that. Let's get off just body reserves that people might have from modern foods stored on their bodies and go out in nature for a certain length of time. let's take that out of the equation. How can we do it? Well, let's measure people's body weight before they move in, before they start the challenge, and then at a certain length of time after and a weigh out. And if you lose any weight at all, then you haven't matched the calories burned versus produced. So the idea of the Wilderness Living Challenge is to actually gain weight or at least maintain our body weight. And I found it's really tricky because you want to throw a lot of calories out there trying to collect all these foods that are difficult to get. And if you do that, you might be very successful as far as getting animals, but you aren't necessarily successful at replacing the calories you burn. So to make it short, it's calories in, calories out. So the Wilderness Living Challenge is all about matching your calories. And I know we talked at the end of this series, which we're not going to spoil obviously, but the idea is to actually come in at a fighting weight. So your optimal body disposition, I guess, not too much body fat, having an active body, because you know, if you're heavier on the heavier side, you're going to have a hard time maintaining that on a wild diet, especially, which is going to be low on carbs and sugars, and sometimes even low on fats. This year we did pretty good, but in years past it's been a lot of lean meat, which we know I have to eat like 10 pounds of lean meat just to get by, which is, you know, how do you do that? How can you physically eat 10 pounds of lean meat in a day? Just lean meat, you know. And I'm not in an environment where there's lots of sugars around. So for us to go and find coconuts or wild fruits in abundance, you know, bananas and stuff like that, it's really, really hard. So we this year we did what we could and focused on what was in season, which is animal, and then also fat from animals. So this year we targeted bear because I knew it would be a good source of fat, and that would tide us over. So that's a long answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the limitations though are basically none. Tents.
Yeah.
Tents and the tools that are needed to do the job. The guns, the ammo, the water purification. So we're not going all primitive on things like that. Water purifier, the platypus. We what else to say about it? You know.
Multiple locations, a vehicle for travel so that we can cover those multiple locations. When we feel like we're being skunked in an area, we can move, or if we're doing really well, we could, you know, stay there longer. We were pretty much out of cell phone range. We were out of cell phone range the entire time, except for when we transferred from one location to the other. So we were pretty much off grid the whole time. Yep.
It wasn't like we're, you know, watching TV in an RV at night.
Yeah.
You know, we even survived a crazy storm, probably the worst I've ever slept through, or tried to sleep through at one point. You know, and what did we get for animals that you want to talk about? That
we can mention them.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just mention what's in season right now.
Yeah. Because
the fall has the greatest leeway as far as seasons go. The summer here is fish. The spring we have bear hunt. Near the end of the summer there's hare. Going through the fall is so the grouse, duck, goose, hare, bear, deer's coming in now. It wasn't, I don't think, when we started. And fish. And then we also, since Adam's here, worth a mention too, Adam actually helped us out trapping. So then that kind of opens a big door. You know, Adam can trap almost anything as long as they're, I think, nuisance species right now. You're allowed to trap only nuisance species. So that opened the door too. We had to do it on private property, so we exploited that resources too. So we could have got any number of things. But you know, in that category of what's a nuisance, you know, you can't just trap it, just call it a nuisance. We have a pond on private property. It's actually Jeremy, one wildcrafter. He does quite a bit videos with me. So he's got a pond that's habitually occupied by beaver, and you can never get rid of them. But it does flood an area that they don't want flooded. So to keep a tab on them, probably every year we can go grab 2 nuisance beavers out of the pond and still be fine. So yeah, that's a big target of fat. Like beavers are fatty meat, and one that's self-sustaining. Like you just can eat beaver itself and you'd be alright because it's got the right ratio of fat and protein mixed in there. And that was a trapper staple going back years and years and years back in Canada, in Canadian history. That was something people ate, in the tails and all that good stuff. tail's almost fully fat. So yeah, you can keep an eye on those ideas and themes, and you can figure out probably what
We
targeting.
basically, we basically got about 75% of what he just mentioned and managed to eat and catch and cook during our time. 7 days, Wilderness Living Challenge Season 4. Look for it coming soon. If this is a video is up and the Wilderness Living Challenge has been posted, I will have a link in the description at that point. So maybe you're watching this later, and there's already a link down there for the playlist on both of our channels, Fowler's Makery and Mischief and the Wooded Beardsman. You'll be able to watch both of our takes day in and day out as we split off on different adventures and have a different take on everything that we did out there. And he's a big calorie counter watching on that and a detail and a master chef when it comes to cooking the wild, weird foods that you would think are not foods, but when you're surviving and or kind of doing this thing, wilderness living, they are good. Yeah, amazingly good.
It's a testament to eating it properly too, like stewing rather than spit roasting. You know, the stew in the cast iron pots was really like a main staple thing for eating out there, and especially keeping our food warm and not spoiling, so we could fill up a big cast iron with whatever we wanted to put in and just kind of leave it, stew it.
The forever stew, I called it.
Yeah,
you know,
you
it's
just
like
keep adding things in, right?
And drinking the broth, adding more water, adding more meat, adding more fat.
Yeah, and then we can go out and forage and collect and hunt and
so
fish.
No matter what we managed to do, yeah, and we didn't go out weak or something, assuming we did really well. Wink, wink.
Yeah. I don't think we could even before bed grab a bunch, eat it, go to sleep, you know, wake up, grab a little bit, even if it was cold, we could still eat it, go about our day, come back, heat it up and eat it. So yeah, we didn't just do stews, but I mean that was the main
No, we had some fun with different things and tried different, man, we tried all kinds of different stuff out.
Yeah.
We had a blast.
Yeah.
That was good.
Do you want to mention what I'm eating right now?
Yeah, he's still eating some of our stew made from...
Day 8 now, and I'm still on the diet. I have not eaten anything, any modern sourced foods for 8 days now.
I stopped because we were done on day 7 and we weighed out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what that is now, whether we succeeded or failed. You'll have to watch the series to find out. But I had a piece of beef jerky, but other than that, I'm still been eating some of the stew that we had left over too.
Yeah.
And it's even better today than it was the first 2 days we made it, actually. So, you know, that
well, we should ask Adam, since he's here, he's in the frame.
Yeah.
How easy is it to trap a beaver if you we were starving, shit hits the fan, you know, the world's ending. What kind of trap would you have, and what would you go for as far as I know you don't like beaver meat, but if you did,
a conibear. Body grip trap.
Yeah.
Very good for multi-species.
Yep.
So otter, pretty much everything in Canada is body grip trapping because of our laws. And beaver, if they're around, they're pretty easy to catch.
Yeah. You use the caster scent.
I use the caster right from the beaver.
Yeah, and that draws them in.
Yeah, it's a territorial thing. And they're pretty easy to catch for the most part.
Yeah. What's your success rate setting traps for the Wilderness Living Challenge for beaver?
4 for 4 there.
Yeah.
No, the caster scent comes from the beaver. Where is that located?
Right near the vent. It's glands that they secrete to mark their territories.
Yeah.
So at the back end of them.
Yep. The vent?
Yeah, the
That's
butt.
The butt.
Political thing.
Yeah, so you harvest that and you mix it with oil.
Glycerin.
Glycerin, right? And then if you move it from one location to another, then the beaver the resident beaver gets upset and investigates.
Yeah. So I keep 2 jars. I kind of use the highway as a dividing line. So any beaver I catch on this side, I'll use those glands on the other side of the road and vice versa, so that I'm not mixing, but I don't think it matters that much. I think you start marking your territory and they're going to come and do the same.
Yeah. And people talk about, you know, small game, Paiute deadfalls, which to me I'm like, yeah, okay, that's neat. I think it's interesting, but to run 300 Paiute deadfall traps, the return on your investment is probably negative. Whereas the return on, what's the value on a conibear, like for beaver?
Those ones were $35 a piece.
$35 each, and you can return on that 50 pounds, you know, up to 50 pounds of beaver. You know, maybe dressed out, it might be 30 pounds of edible, stewable meat.
And the hides go for, what are they, $25 or 15?
10 to 15.
Oh, 10 to
Canadian.
15. Okay, right now they're 10 to 15.
Yeah, so you
Yeah,
do
years ago
you
they.
do 2 beavers, you
Yeah.
pay for your trap,
Yep.
right? And then how long do the traps last?
Almost indefinitely.
Forever. So you've got a device that's worth $30 that will last you forever. That's almost guaranteed successful as long as you find the right habitat, which is like almost everywhere in Canada. People make jokes like, you're killing an endangered animal. Like, beaver is not an endangered animal, man. Like, every single waterway we're on
Oh, everywhere we went.
has beaver.
Every time we were, every evening, any location we were, we're always on water.
Yeah.
This whole adventure.
Yeah.
Every night there'd be like "Tudoosh,
Yeah.
tudoosh" from
Yeah.
the beavers slapping their tail on the
Yeah,
water.
because they're territorial. They don't
Yeah.
like us to be there.
No.
And
Yeah.
they're not going to come and slap us in the face or anything.
No.
But they're letting us know that that's their territory and they don't like it.
Yeah.
So they're just saying, okay, I know you're here. You know I'm here. That's cool, but stay away.
Yeah. This is my beaver lodge. Don't be chewing on my trees.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. There's no shortage of them. You could just take them. So many of them. In fact, we have quotas on them. What's the quota? Do you know what the quota is for? Any of the quotas for the trap lines? Like, what do they run?
They have to harvest 75% of their quota.
Right.
So
And what's the
quota-
numbers for like a rough? You don't know.
Could be 50.
Yeah,
could be
50 in a
150.
certain like a hectare or whatever it is.
Yeah.
A certain number of hectares. I guess it depends
The
on
quota
size.
means they're intentionally, they have it out to harvest a certain amount of
you
beaver
have to-
every year
You have to harvest a certain number,
in a
or-
certain area.
or
Yeah.
you lose your what's it called?
Your trap line, your
Your trap
registered
line.
trap line.
Yeah.
And the registered trap line goes to a specific trapper,
Yeah.
and they control that area. And if they don't trap it,
They can potentially lose
they
it,
potentially lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or
So
have
they-
to justify why.
Right. Yeah. If there's extenuating circumstances,
Yeah.
you can't trap. But so that you have to trap. We in Canada have to trap, or the beaver population will become a problem. It'll be such that there will be rivers flooding into roadways and houses that people will not, we like having wildlife, but we also don't like to have it in our backyards.
Yeah.
Same with bear. The bears are cool, but as soon as they end up in the city around our kids, that's something we're probably not going to be willing to digest. Then we start to be like, okay, well, we got to do something about it. You think it's cool, but you want to see a black bear around your toddler? No. You don't.
We've seen bear in some of the times that since I've been here. The times that we've seen sign and bear the most were actually closer to civilization and stuff. We were with the dogs. We were driving down the road in an urban area, and the dogs are going off. And the guy was saying that Matt was saying that those dogs are going off because there's a bear here. Probably coming and visiting one of the houses or something.
Yeah, or in people's backyards.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily know that there's a bear in their backyard either.
Yeah, because they can be quiet and stealthy enough.
Well, they are quiet. and stealthy.
You
You didn't get a chance to hunt over bait, but
Yeah.
you don't hear the bears coming into bait.
Yeah.
You just like, okay, there's a bear and it's 20 yards away from you. And we'll get into ethics of hunting over bait, but you can't see bears in the forest.
Yeah.
They're there all the time. You can't see or hear them. They're sneakier than the sneakiest dog or house cat you've ever seen.
Yeah.
You don't hear a house cat walking around. They're putting the feet down very carefully. You don't hear them or see them. It's so dense here too. You can't see very far in the woods. So you'll see a bit of that in the.
So a lot
more on my end of it because you were on the way up.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So back to survival shows and stuff. A lot of people may have heard of you back at the beginning of Alone coming out because you made a casting video for for season 1, season 2, and season 3 of Alone. What are your thoughts on the show? What do you want to get on the show now? Do you still want to try at it?
I know I would lose the show, having repeated this 4 times, 4 seasons doing the Wilderness Living Challenge. I know I would probably fail, given the circumstances that the contestants are put in, the environment. I know I would eventually have to tap out and not win. So it would be like, do I want the experience of doing it? And I'm like, I have to weigh the pros and cons of it. Would I do it just for the experience? Would I do it for publicity? Would I do it just to see a new environment? I don't know. I can't honestly say. I would say 100% no, but YouTube's a really good venue for just doing whatever I want to do or feel
and
like doing.
editing the way we want to, and not
right?
coming back and going, why didn't you use that clip of me catching this or eating that? And
yeah,
that's frustrating.
I think what's more frustrating to me is that I know it's a recipe. It's set up for failure. I know. I'm pretty confident that. I mean, there's never 100% certainty, but I'm pretty confident.
That's where we disagree. He says it's set up for failure. I say it's set up to be what it is, and so I don't see that as set up for failure.
Okay, so I don't think they're setting it up for failure, but I think the way it's done is guaranteed failure. I'm not saying I'm not saying that the show wants people to fail. I think the show actually wants, I'm trying to read their minds, but I think the show wants people to succeed and get game and get fish and stuff like that. I just think with 10 items, it's going to be super hard to not be wasting calories pursuing game.
Yeah.
And so would I want to be in that position where I just have 10 things with me to try to match my calories? And I think that the time where you could just do things primitively is kind of gone now. So they want to put me back in time, 10,000 years ago, give me 10 items.
Yeah.
And the animals are like spear worthy, and I can go find a bear in a den, or every 2 seconds I'm coming across another deer that I can try to toss a spear at. And the deer, they're not getting shot at for 100 yards, and they're used to coming across people all the time that can only throw spears at them. I might have a better chance, but we can't go back 10,000 years.
Yeah.
So
or they're not gonna film alone in town hunting bow season, where the deer population is huge because they're eating people's apple trees in their backyard.
They're accustomed to having
They're
people.
Guaranteed to have them always be there in a large
Throw me
herd.
on the Galapagos Islands with giant tortoise that aren't afraid of people.
Then you'd have to go on to Naked Afraid for that kind of thing. I think,
right? So I think it's just what I get hung up on is do I want to starve for that length of time?
Yeah.
What's the length of time I want to be really hungry at? And I've already experienced hunger. I know what that feels like. So do I want to go for a long length of time doing that? And so what would I gain out of doing it?
Yeah.
So I'm weighing those pros and cons, I guess.
And I think when I hear you say that, what would I gain out of it? I know that now you're about to hit 500,000. Maybe by the time I post this video, you're hitting 500,000 on YouTube. You're doing your own thing. You've got your own successful wilderness living challenge. You got a strategy for it. You're getting out there, having adventures, having fun. I was there with him, so I know he's having fun and it's real. And we really did just eat what we caught, and we're able to catch and cook and have fun. And so it's like, why go do somebody else's thing when you keep successfully doing your own thing? I think too.
And you can vouch for some of the criticism that comes back on me on the channel. What's it like to hang out with me? Do you think it's are we just slaughtering animals?
He's so grumpy. Don't talk to him for the first hour he's awake.
No.
You don't even step on a stick. Just hold still, like you're like a bear. And, you gotta, when you're confronting a bear, you just hold. No, I'm just kidding.
You can't joke about that because people
believe that. No, it's not true.
It's not true at all, right?
He's a normal guy. He's just as normal as any of us.
And we're not going out slaughtering animals.
No, we're not doing anything.
Have you wasted anything?
No.
Have I been very using your word fastidious because we've thrown that when that happened?
No, it just now. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm getting antsy about the meat that we have with us.
Yeah.
Because we brought probably, we should say more meat than we could consume in a given amount of time, and I'm like, we got to get back to town, or we got to be mindful of this. This has to go in the pot now because it's going to go to waste. Right, because I really don't like wasting any edible.
And we did good. We didn't waste anything.
No, and we didn't get more than we could consume.
Yeah. Oh, we did, but we brought it back.
Well, yeah. That's
in the end.
Yeah, a little bit of a spoiler there. In the end, we had too much, so we made sure that we could stockpile it and it didn't go to waste. We gave some of it away.
Well, it's not so much a spoiler as you got to watch this wilderness living challenge because it was good. Just say that.
Yeah.
That's.
I had a checklist of things that I wanted to accomplish, and I think we got almost all of it done.
Any situation living off of meat and fat and berries from the woods, to do that is very, very hard. If you want to see how hard that is, you can watch the seasons that are already out, season 1, 2, and 3 of the Wilderness Living Challenge on his channel, and how that all went. The last one was actually in Texas with
Bob
Hansler and stuff. But I want to go back for a second to Alone. You say you don't know if you want to go out there and starve. And my thing is, I know it's always difficult, and it's like you're going out there with 10 items, it's really hard. I want to someday be the person that goes out there, and I would risk anything to be the one that goes out there to be completely successful. Because at some point, somebody's going to go out there and they're going to be the one that gets the boar, that gets the, and just does thrive with it. You know, I think even in that situation, even if you get all kinds of stuff and do thrive and you're eating well and you're comfortable, you are still going to lose weight. Because it's just, you're always going to be burning calories.
Okay, so to go back, to finish off on that maybe, or maybe add to it anyway. I feel like I've already been on the show through Dave Nessia.
Yeah.
Dave Nessia. He did what I would do.
Yeah.
He did exactly what I would have done on the show.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've already done that in some regards.
Yeah.
Unless they change the environment or loosen up the laws or just get put, like maybe Florida or something with hogs everywhere. I don't know. Just somewhere where it's like
they let you bring guns.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the real leveler.
Yeah.
Everybody's using guns, so to go up, you're going head to head against other people. We went to get head to head against people with ATVs, and they're hunting grouse and what they're doing a lot better than we are, driving around on the ATVs all day.
Yeah.
You're going head to head with those guys.
We found like a pile of grouse once that was just like.
Yeah.
Just slaughtered, just breasted out and just slaughtered all over the banks of the river.
15 grouse sitting by the bank.
Yeah.
And those are birds that we could have got on, otherwise on foot.
Yeah.
We're still using a gun on foot.
Yeah.
So you're going head to head against that. Like the animals are accustomed to being hunted.
It's like, so you can go out with a gun and you can know where things are and do your due diligence, and you manage to get your game and you do well and you can stockpile some food. Or you go out with a bow and you spend a whole bunch of time. You set up one hunt and you get it ready, you wait a long time, and then you get one animal kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like to go and get every complication you add to it just makes it take all the longer, the harder, the less chance of success.
I know guys who've taken 10 years to harvest a deer with a primitive bow and arrow.
Yeah.
10 years of waiting for their opportunity to get within 10 or 15 yards of a deer in a tree stand, mind you. 10 years, can you imagine? 10 years, that's a lot of time to spend in pursuit of that passion. Like, I want to use a primitive bow, recurve, traditional hunting to get a deer. And guys that get guns, use guns, they get deer every year. Guys who use crossbow might be, every year.
Yeah, crossbow or compound bows. Some guys may get it every year, but they got a stand, they got their deer camera, and their compound bow with sights and the whole rigmarole.
And they're fed the whole time too.
Yeah.
They're not starving while they're doing it.
No.
And and they're going home at night, and then the game go back in, and they move back in, and you're freshening up the air. But if you're living within walking distance of your stand, and you're camped there, the deer are going to buffer out another 100, 200 yards, and you're going to go out. You're going to have to walk that distance every day. So if anything, it's not. We don't live in a time where it's easy to do anything traditionally anymore. It's fun to play around with it, and it can be very addictive and it can be very challenging, and there may be reasons to do it for that. But as far as like calorie counting and surviving long term, it's just not. If you can kill a deer with traditional archery, you can kill a deer with a gun.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to learn the habits of an animal, then do it traditionally, because you have to get real close and you have to learn everything about scent and approach and being stealthy and the habits of an animal. And you're going to see a lot of animals before you shoot one. So it's a good way to learn how to do something, and then you can back it up as far as you want until you think, okay, that's challenging enough. I hunt deer with a bow because it would be almost too easy to hunt with a gun.
Yeah.
Almost too guaranteed. So I back it up a notch and use the bow. and it extends the season for me, and I find it very enjoyable.
And there's plenty of them out there, so the people that do, like around my area, there's people that try to put as much in the freezer as possible. So they're out there for muzzle loader,
Right.
rifle, bow, in-town bow season. And if they're not out there for in-town bow season, you know, we have several accidents every year at this one place. You know, it's like there's not enough bow hunters in-town bow hunting because it's just like cars are all smashed up. People, I think somebody actually died a couple of years back or something horrible because of hitting a deer and then crashing up, or dodging a deer and crashing off the road.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, it's not a bad thing. It's not, hunting is a good thing.
No, for sure.
It balances
You
out
have to do it.
the nature, because we are encroaching on nature, and part of nature, you know, it's like we balance everything out by hunting.
Yeah.
And take the pressure off of them having to raise more cows.
Well, and that too. And if you don't kill a deer, then the deer will kill plants.
Yeah. Orchards, I don't know. It all comes back around.
It's not just orchards. It's like it's all vegetation.
Yeah.
You know, we have problems in certain environments where the deer get out of control and they'll wipe out like all the vegetation.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to balance those two out. You can't protect something too much and get rid of all the predators, because then things get out of cycle.
Yeah, it's like all the times that people have removed wolves from an area, and then all of a sudden there's these problems with too many elk and things like that, and then they bring wolves back in, but the elk, they've been removed some of the populations, so now the elk puts pressure on everything else. I mean, the wolves do. It's like, there's a balance there, and we just do our best. Hunting, all that hunting stuff aside, what is your goals for your future with YouTube and stuff?
I have none.
Yeah.
We talked about that.
I've been trying to get an answer out of him, and he doesn't really have much of an answer.
I don't really know. YouTube is never a long-term thing for me, and it's never like I wanted to be a YouTuber. Yeah. I thought I would get like to 15,000 subscribers or 25,000, because those were the guys who I was watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, they were bushcraft guys, because I was kind of interested in that, and I was living in the city for so long. I was getting antsy and bored, and you know, spent 10 years, you know, starting a family and all that stuff there. And moving to southern Ontario, so I really miss here, which is where I grew up, northern Ontario. So it's more like an excuse to get back out in the woods doing things I just felt compelled to do. It's just kind of in my...
YouTube was?
No, nature. Like
what was your
fishing, hunting.
What was your initial reason to start doing YouTube?
I think it was probably just get on the show alone. Yeah, I made a casting
really?
tape. Yeah, I made a casting tape, and it got like 50,000 views. I'm like, that's interesting. If I could get a video, if I can get 50,000 views out of every single video I make, you know, maybe I could do something for YouTube. And it was never like, and then I just started playing around. I watched like a lot of Joe Robinette, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, because he was doing canoe camping and stuff, and it reminded me of, you know, being out again in the woods, where I couldn't be out in the woods because I was, you know, in southern Ontario, and there's not a lot of the kind of woods that I like. So it was basically, at the end of the day, I could just tune into a YouTube video and be like, oh, this is cool. And Bushcraft Barton too, I watched a lot of him, and it was like a slower pace, but it was like, you know, having a fire and, you know, sipping a tea and carving a spoon, and I really missed that so much. And Matty the Goose, he would do some really cool Algonquin Park trips. He's not super active anymore because he had 3 kids or something like that, so he kind of got knocked off of YouTube. But I'd watch him, and I'm like, that's kind of cool, and I could do that, and you know, maybe have an excuse to go do it. And then it just kind of evolved to be doing more adventures, and you know, just film it was kind of an excuse. And I thought you needed like, you know, 500,000 subscribers to be anything on YouTube and to make a go of it. So I never even thought there was any money involved in being a YouTuber, because I'm like scaling the values up. I'm like, well, so I've got like 1,000 subscribers and I'm making nothing. What's nothing times, you know, 100,000? It's still nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like, what kind of numbers do you need? And so I was watching like Joe Robinette reach 100,000. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go full time. And before that, I think I watched Survival Lily get to 100,000. She's like, I'm gonna go full time. So like, I guess maybe at 100,000 there's a full-time avenue there. Yeah. Because they both kind of said at 100,000 we're going full-time. I'm like, well, that's weird, because I'm scaling these numbers at 30,000 and 20,000. It's like still peanuts. It's not enough to pay gas bills or anything, but at the same time I had fun doing it, so I just kept doing it. And I was doing it for fun, and I'm still doing it for fun. Like, I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
You know, because setting the cameras up, not the actual doing the stuff, that's fun, but setting the cameras up is like obviously sometimes a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's fun, you get cool camera angles and set up, and to capture all these moments to look back on. You know, my son can watch all these when he's a grown up. You know, heaven forbid I have an accident and I die. My son can go back and he can have those videos to watch. You know, and if I can't teach them all those things, he has that catalog of things to look back on. And me too, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So that's a cool thing, to have an archive of your life.
When you're senile and old, you can watch it and go, I recognize that guy.
Yeah, I did that, and you know, I probably, you know, it'll take a while before it's not fresh in my mind anymore. But there may be a time when it's not fresh in my mind anymore, and you want to dig those up again. And you know, I made home movies since I had a VHS recorder.
Yeah.
I had a big clunky VHS recorder with 2 VCRs, and we'd do skits. We'd tape it, we'd play it on one VCR to record, to edit on the other VCR, and at the end of it we'd play it for family and friends. I don't have them anymore. That would have
been funny to see if you could put something together and put it on YouTube or something.
Yeah, I tried, and I don't know where they all went. We would do all sorts of little weird skits.
I tried replaying one of my earlier videos and putting it on YouTube. It did not do well.
No,
it was something I made like 12 years ago, and I thought I'd put it up. It was called Kaboom, and we basically just blew up stuffed animals. And I thought when I made it at the time, YouTube was all things blowing up, cute kitty cats dragging on the floor to mop the floor and things like that, and it was, you know, so I thought, oh, this is gonna go millions of views, and I never managed to figure out how to load it onto YouTube, so I thought, now I'll put it up there one day.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of years ago, and you know. What's your favorite YouTubers?
Favorite YouTubers? I got so many. Right now I'm watching AP Bassing. I shoot him a message, potential collaboration with AP Bassing. It's gonna be tricky because the idea I had is maybe a little too far gone on that. So I don't know, he's probably not watching this, but
yeah.
AP Bassing I'm watching right now. I'm watching Lunkers. Those are like Lunkers TV. They're in Texas. It's the Guggen Squad. There's a bunch of YouTubers collected together, and they kind of promote some baits, and they do a lot more fishing and then some hunting. Right now, that's who I'm watching, but I do, like I said, I mentioned Joe Rogan. I watch Survival Lily a little bit. Sean James, Myself Reliance. I don't watch the long form videos because I'm not super interested in the log cabin stuff. I think it's interesting to see like kind of what he's building off of.
We've mentioned before, I don't watch a lot of survival stuff. I'd rather read books on survival stuff, and on YouTube I kind of fall down the rabbit hole a lot of times lately. You never know just watching trending videos and stuff, weird things. I love some of my favorite things. I used to skateboard when I was younger, and so I like to watch skateboarders or some of these BMX bikers and stuff. Yeah. And what was the other one? Oh, the Braille skateboarding. It's just because I don't know. I find it entertaining, little competitions and stuff they do. Yeah. But we also, when we first started talking, it was about how to make our YouTube better. Yeah. And so I turned you on to some how-to YouTubers who are like the gurus. Daryl Eves.
Daryl Eves a little bit.
Yeah. Who else?
That's the
I think that's the only one I watched Roberto Blake and video influencers and stuff like that. And that was when I first decided to go YouTube after winning my $500,000 on a loan, season 3, I decided to go full-time and using that money to support myself. So I've been full-time right from the start till I built up to now just over 100,000, and it's sustaining itself. Yeah. With the website and interactive stuff and adventures that I have, like coming up here and hanging out with him. And so I watch how-to YouTube for the longest time. Yeah. Lately I've gotten it starts to get repetitive. You hear a lot of the same stuff. Yeah. But we're still, when we talk, most of our conversation is probably 30% to 40% of our conversation back and forth is about, what are you about thumbnails and titles and and like
the shop talk,
YouTube shop talk, and like how to best, because like we can make the best video in the world, but if we don't present it in a way that you can see it and experience, taste it, and almost smell it because we're doing a good job,
Yeah.
then you miss out on the adventure, and it doesn't feel good to you, and it's not. And like you were saying, you're encouraged because of watching Joe Robinette and other people and seeing them having these adventures. Like, man,
Yeah.
I could taste that adventure, and I want to have that adventure too.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what I want to put in the passion in my videos, is so that when you watch my video, you taste that adventure and you say, that's a piece of adventure that I want for myself. I'm going to get out there and do that.
Yeah. I think even before that, to me, a concept is like, what I have fun doing, what I haven't not done yet as a skill, you know, what animal have I not pursued or learned about enough to be able to capture. You know, my big thing before I left Texas, I had a list of things. I said, Bob, what can we get in Texas? He gave me a list of things. And there was a list of things I wanted to work through when I was in Texas. And one of those things was an armadillo. And by the end, like we're getting close to the end, I hadn't got an armadillo yet. So like I was like, it was going to become an all-night affair until I got the armadillo. So it's like the passion, the focus on a skill that I don't have yet. And just to keep opening those little boxes. Okay, so now I'm goose. I'm on goose a little bit now and duck because it's open right now. How do I get a goose and a duck? Because I know nothing about it. I can't wing shoot for crap. You know, I can, if there's girls on the ground, I'm good, you know, because I picked up the gun just now, not long ago, just getting kind of get back into things. So I bow hunted for 10 years. But just like wing shooting geese, that's a skill I want to learn. So like, okay, that's the skill I want to learn. How do I make a video around it? And I think like as long as you're learning something, you can make a video about it. I don't know anybody who can really do well making a video interesting on a skill that they already know. That's boring to them. You know, like to get the passion in the video, I think it has to be something totally novel. So like if it gets too easy to survive around here or thrive around here, I want to go to a tropical place. I want to go to, you know, maybe a desert location or something like that. I know it's very difficult, but to do in new environments. So I think like that's the goal that I have, is just like opening new boxes and new opportunities. And YouTube is like a wonderful thing for that, where it can self-fund adventures to have a really cool life that I couldn't have otherwise. You know, I'm so thankful for YouTube. So thankful. And a lot of people talk garbage about YouTube. And you know, YouTube and I have had our differences.
Yeah.
And we've worked on sorting them out, and I think now we're at a place where we can kind of coexist. But there was a lot of work to get through that demonetization, you know, aspect of YouTube, where now they're like, okay, what you're doing is okay, but what you were doing before, you're overstepping the boundaries of what we thought was acceptable as far as things that I find completely natural, like skinning and gutting and cleaning and preparing my food. These are things I'm going to eat. And to me, I don't find it graphic, but now I've come to understand that, you know, most people don't have the background that I do. They haven't skinned and gutted 12 deer or 20 deer. I forget what I'm at now. A lot of deer, and so they think that this is the first time they've seen it, and they're not ready to see it in the detail that I'm okay with seeing. I know there's a lot of people out there who are, but the general population they still think that's not cool.
Yeah, we'd have to shift our video making. You know, for instance, my Catch and Cook the Easter Bunny, I had put an unlisted video separate that shows the skinning and gutting for people that wanted to see it, and we show just the cooking of, you know, regular meat, you know, so it looks like regular meat, and that's okay, you know, and it's like that way any of our videos that we put out, you know, those unlisted ones are separate, and people that just want to watch something that's that they would consider, you know, some people are sensitive that they consider it to be child friendly. I keep my channel wholly child friendly, and I think yours is as well. You know, just hanging out with you never did anything that would make me like tell my kids to like close your eyes and plug your ears, you know.
No, I want my channel to be family channel.
Yeah, family friendly.
I really do. I really do.
Yeah.
Like I'll put some innuendos in there as a joke, but the kids aren't gonna get those.
Yeah.
You know, it's a joke between adults.
Yeah.
They used to have cartoons. If you watch old cartoons.
Yeah.
they had all sorts of innuendos littered throughout them,
Yeah.
so that when the parents were listening in the background, they could get a chuckle and didn't mind watching it.
You can Google that right now after you're done watching this on YouTube. YouTube cartoon Disney innuendos. You know,
there's piles of them because
they're nasty. That Disney.
Adults were writing them and they wanted to be funny for them. And
Sorry, Disney, if you want me to be in the next Star Wars, you know, I'm still available. I'm still, you know, the new Obi-Wan. I'm. If you're still casting, no.
So I want to throw a question back to you. Do we get along? Because I think that's important to me.
Yeah, very.
I think it's important for people to know.
Yeah.
Do we get along?
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Oh yeah.
Do you have any
I'm
hesitation?
hoping to. We've already talked about daydreaming about tropical locations and things. I don't want to do tropical, but then as we started talking about it and the amount of food that we get and the adventure we have, I was like, he said like 3 words, and I can't remember what they were. Like oh, we could hunt this and we could gather this and and it would be like, and I'd be like, okay, I'm sold. You know, it's like
because like I want to continue to go into places that have ample resources. It doesn't have to be easy, but I think it has to be. I hate watching people suffer, which I think is like the big thing about watching the survival shows. I mean, I like watching people suffer at the start, but then I want to see some success. You know, I want to see the whole cycle, the whole emotional cycle, the whole like. You know, if I hunt and I fish, and the amount of excitement when you finally accomplish something, you know, you finally get that net onto the fish, and it's at the boat, and the hook, you can see it just dangling at the edge of the lip, and you know, they're reaching back, and you're like, oh, I gotta reel up again, and it pulls a little bit of drag, and just getting in that net, and then just the elation you feel after you get it in the net, or just like, you're sitting there, in your tree stand, and the deer is creeping up, and it suddenly pops his head up, and it takes a little sniff, but it's okay, it puts its head back down. I mean, that's intense, right? But to see just like the slow and steady decline on the survival shows, it kills me, right? Because I'm like, how are you going to get up from there? Can you? You got a mouse.
Yeah.
You know, that mouse storyline.
But that is, I think, the nature of the very title, survival.
Yeah.
It's a survival show. You're trying to either survive the time period while being naked, you know, as best you can. We've seen a couple people that succeeded, I think, stellarly on Naked and Afraid, but one guy was, you know, brought climbing rope and he managed to like keep trapping rats the whole time, and he was happy the whole time, eating well. Another guys, they survived a horrible situation. I think it was Billy the Bow Hunter or something in the Everglades where there was water like 3 feet deep and
Billy
2
Burger.
feet. Yeah, a foot deep of water the whole time, and they managed to survive for their full period of time before they left. Well, it was like miserable catching snakes and stuff. So it's like I like the whole surviving the miserable thing. It's survival. You're out there to survive, and then with Alone, you're out there to survive, have fun, and out survive the other contestants for the prize and bragging rights and whatever else comes along with it, and especially the adventure that you experience.
Sure, yeah.
I can't wait. Hopefully hanging out with this guy doesn't ostracise me. And
I don't know why it would.
No, from being on All Stars someday, the winners against winners, because I'd like my chance at that. And just to do it again, just to have the adventure. I mean, you learn so much about yourself while you're out there doing that. That's a long time to be alone, and 87 days, 63 fish, 2 birds. I got like all kinds of numbers in my head from the different things I did there. All the 150 steps I carved into the mountainside.
Yeah, I know eating, like being alone too, is like something that I'm not too super keen on.
Yeah, you were saying that you're like, I love to go out and have my adventures with my buddies and do this, and so.
Isn't it so much better?
It was.
Right, like you have to collaborate. You have to like, but
you lift each other up a bit too, because it's like, you know, I missed that duck. I was pretty down. You just like, hey, don't worry about it.
Keep shooting.
It happens. It happens. You know, sometimes the animals get away, and I'm like,
we checked in all the time.
Yeah.
You know, if you like get quiet, I'm like, you okay, Zach? Oh, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Like if you have a problem, you know, throw it out there. We can deal with it. But if you have secrets, you know, you don't know where the guy is on what page he's on, then you can't deal with it. But you know, throw it out there. Let's work on it head on. And I don't think we ever got there at all.
No, we didn't have any chafing or arguments or anything.
It was more like you wanted to build a little bit more, and we didn't have time.
No, well, that's okay. So that brings us back to the difference between the two of us. Like, I like to build stuff. I almost consider myself more of a bushcrafter and slingshot professional. You know, like we're working towards someday being a slingshot. I want to be like break a Guinness World Record with a slingshot. You know, so it's like, and a filmmaker more than anything else.
Yeah.
Whereas you're, you know, a hunter.
I like
you're a
eating.
catch and cooker.
Yeah, I'm
you
a
know?
catch and cooker.
You're a catch and cooker. That's like, that's gotta be your
I
handle.
could do that. I could do that all over the world
Yeah.
and be happy doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just like I like making films and like little adventure things, you know, like bushcrafting my hammocking 20 feet up in the tree bear safe, which I know bears climb trees. That was just to get a lot of people to click, and it worked. I got about 100,000 "you're an idiot, bears climb trees." Like, yeah, I know. But thanks for the view. You know,
Yeah.
great job.
Everybody starts the same place. Like, not saying you specifically, but anybody jumps on a learning curve. Like, I'm on the learning curve for goose, right? And Adam will attest. Like, you guys should have shot this morning,
Yeah,
right? Should have shot this morning, but you know, you wait, and the opportunity's gone. Whereas, you know, a seasoned shooter, gun up, bam, bam, right?
yeah.
So that's part of the reason why I wanted Adam to bring a gun.
Well, I thought they were gonna
Just like, oh,
land,
just
and I
call.
thought like I didn't want to be the first
Sometimes
person to
they
shoot
land.
and startle them all away and be like, you missed and you.
Yeah, you're the guy who
You
scared them
know,
all
you're
away.
the one that ruined everything for everybody. You know, but
I did that with Jeremy
Yeah.
last year, starting with ducks and geese,
Yeah.
and it was like I wouldn't even bring the gun up to shoot because I was not sure about shooting in a canoe. I thought if I shot in the canoe, we'd all spill out of the canoe. You know, I'm
Yeah.
like, you shoot first, and I'll hang on, and then I'll kind of learn. So you kind of
Yeah.
start at the bottom, but it's really fun to start off at the bottom and learn a bunch of new skills, especially with like people who are skilled, right?
yeah.
You know, to have Adam here to take us out on the pond where he knows the ducks and geese.
And also, you've taught me so much being up here about YouTube and how to do YouTube, so it's appropriate because I think as a YouTuber, we have a tendency like if I can't film it, then it's not worth doing.
Right.
You know, and so it's like, not because I don't just do stuff for myself, but I spend my time with my family, and I spend a lot of time editing and making my stuff. So it's like, if I'm going to go out there and go deer hunting or go grouse hunting at home, you know, I want to do it so that I can share it with everybody, and so I choose to do the things that I can share, which is catch and cook bacon or catch and cook the Easter bunny, you know, stuff like that. And now I've learned a lot from you about how we can catch and cook stuff, be able to share it with everybody, and it doesn't destroy your YouTube channel and get shut down.
Well,
for it,
I
you know?
hope not. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think what we're doing, what I'm doing is wrong at all.
No, it isn't.
Eating food.
No.
You know, maybe it's not grocery food.
Yeah.
Like all the time, most of the time I eat grocery.
You
food.
don't think those chickens, those chickens and turkeys at the grocery store and burgers serve themselves up, you know, into packaging like that.
One of the comments that really gets me is like, why don't you go to the grocery store? You know, there's all sorts of food there. I'm like, yeah, but it's because of people like me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
farmers are killing animals to put them in the grocery store.
Yeah.
It's I'm saving a turkey or a chicken from dying because I'm not eating it.
Yeah.
You know?
Not to mention all the tractor trailer trucks transporting all those vegetables. You're vegan, you're eating all those vegetables. How many of those tractor trailer trucks bringing those vegetables from far away, out of season, are running down pretty little deers in the road?
It's a moral.
In a weird way.
Like, people think they have a moral superiority because they do it a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm superior to you because I don't eat porcupine. Really? Like, okay. So what's your argument there? Like, well, you're eating a wild animal.
Well, you're just
Right.
missing out if you're not eating porcupine. That's the thing. You have no idea how good porcupine can be.
Porcupine never did anything to you. Okay, so is that your argument? Well, chicken never did anything to you.
Yeah.
You know, a turkey never did anything to you. What's your argument? Like, boil people's arguments down. It's like, why can't you eat a certain food?
Yeah.
You know, what's your rationale? Why can't you eat a cute bunny? Because it's cute. You can't eat things that they're cute. Well, I think chickens are cute. Have you looked at them? You know, they're so fun to watch in the backyard. Egg layers.
Yeah, Bantam roosters. I love just watch them walking around do
People
their
think
thing.
pigs are cute. If you look at a cow too, you look at its big doughy eye. There's nothing ugly about an animal. There's not too many. Like, armadillo's a little ugly on the ugly side, but if you
Really?
this guy's cute.
They're kind of
You
cute.
can get away. Like,
Roly poly.
yeah.
Yeah.
But do you want to eat ugly ones? Just like eat the ugly? We just draw the line. We just eat ugly animals.
Yeah.
You know, you can't.
Mole rats.
There's no morality behind. Yeah. There's no morality behind eating.
Rats. Ugh.
Animals eat animals, and we're animals.
So eating. What? So you've eaten a lot of weird things. What's next on the menu? I said rat. I said catch and cook a rat.
I don't want to do a rat.
He's like, I'm gonna have to do a spoof Wooded Beardsman eats a rat, catch and cook a rat video in your exact style of filming to do a spoof of you and eat the rat because he won't do it. So somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to catch and cook a rat.
For some reason, it's just like a raccoon is one of the ones I have a hard time.
It turns my
with.
stomach thinking about it.
Raccoons is the tough one. Like a raccoon is edible. It's fine to eat. It's just, it's just when you open the animal up and you see that it's got the worms and they're still moving. You know it has a parasite. It's almost guaranteed a raccoon has a parasite of some sort. It's like the skunk. Well, Adam was there when we ate the skunk, and we were like, it could have rabies. Like we know it's a fairly good chance. Like it's like 30% or something. If you cook it, it's fine, but you're still handling it. And it's still the idea. Like, you know, you don't want to take that risk. Even when you eat bear meat that has trichinosis, do you want to eat a bad piece of bear meat and have the parasite in you? You know, you don't, right? So it's those weird ones that I want. Like in the rats, I'm like. It's one of those disease carriers that maybe I don't want to spend too much time around. Vermin, it's small, you know. I've seen enough people eat rats, like it's fairly common, so
yeah,
common enough. At least
it's not like there's any good way that you could do it to make it palatable.
Yeah,
but I don't know. There's a million views in it. I think if you got a rat on a stick, I could just see it.
Well, the skunk was just a challenge. The skunk, I just wanted to see if I could do it, because even historical records don't really show anybody eating a skunk.
Yeah.
So and there's nothing in the preparation for it. So I just wanted to see if there was a technically good way to make it palatable.
I'll have to remember that next time every once in a while these bushcraft shows, almost every bushcraft show, there's somebody that has hides that they're showing off, pelts and stuff, and then there's always a couple skunks. And like, that. Did you eat that? Did you eat that? You know,
people just don't bother with it.
Seriously, doubt it.
It's so tricky to do it properly.
Yeah.
Without getting the oil or the scent glands spilled all over the meat, which is the tricky part.
Yeah,
it's possible. We've done it. It was a very popular video at that. I thought it might get more views so people would be more curious about how to do it. But yeah, so you can go back in the records and try to find it.
Yeah, you can go back. It's pretty easy to find a big old skunk right on the front.
Well, there's actually 3 thumbnails with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's only one that's like the clean. Like we have a little bit of cleaning on it because it got age restricted. That's a big story.
Yeah.
We showed the whole process, beginning and end of doing the skunk up, and very in detail, so that if people ever wanted to try it, you know, to have like an actual historical document record
of how to do it.
You know, it would be out there, but it's got buried.
I know I've seen them do it on Naked and Afraid once. They got a small skunk.
Yeah, I think
they didn't do a good job of it.
I supposedly ate it too.
Yeah, I think they busted into it and they were eating and gagging, and I think it had sprayed right when they were killing it because they had to kill it with sticks and things.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna spray.
It was like made a mess of everything. And
yeah, the big thing about eating wild animals is to get rid of the scent glands. Once you get rid of the scent glands,
which are located.
Depends on the animal.
Right. So you got to know your animals because
raccoons is in the armpits, along the once you take the insides out along the back, and then like the back of the knees.
Yeah. Same as deer.
The deer hawks. You get rid of that because sometimes it'll affect the insides. Usually out of the way enough, you don't. But if you cut the duct and it leaks back, it gets all in the hawks, right? So you want the scent glands is what gives game its gamey flavor for the most part. Some of it gets in the meat depending on how rutted up a buck is or something like that. Yeah. The seasons, but for the most part, the gaminess is the skin, the fat, or the scent glands.
It's easy enough to do your work if you want to do it yourself and you're going to do your own butchering. You can find books on it pretty much everywhere.
I have an uncensored channel.
Uncensored videos with the skunk and things like that if you want to see the full details on the workup of those.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
The animal shows you where it needs to be cut and pulled apart. You can see the hair on most animals, and if you cut along that, you're going to be safe. The muscle groups all have the membrane inside them, so you can peel the muscle off with basically your fingers. You know, it's pretty simple to do. It's a little dirty, I guess, but once you do it a couple times, it's pretty easy peasy.
It's not all that dirty, actually.
No.
I mean, you're going to get some on your hands. You're going to get a little bit of grease, a little bit of slime, a little bit of that. But if you don't puncture the stomach and the guts, which you shouldn't do anyway, your hands will be clean enough. You can just wipe some dirt on it and be good to go.
Yeah, the dirtiest part is your hands being a little bit slimy from different things, and then you touch dirt and then it sticks to you. That's the dirty part. Like, is when you're doing it out in the woods, is like trying not to pick up dirt. So we were like trying to make little tables for ourselves in different places. and things like that, or
keep the meat off the dirt.
finding
too,
a log,
right?
yeah, keeping the meat out of the dirt, or down, washing it off
But
again.
you could just wash it off.
Yeah,
Whatever. It's not a big deal. There's really nothing that's out there to get you.
The hairs are if you don't do a good job,
Yeah.
then the hairs get stick things, but it's not a big deal.
I think
I don't know if I've ever noticed a hair in my mouth from eating.
No.
The bears'
Because you usually pick
hairs are very grizzly, but it's like I never had noticed one in my mouth.
No,
anything.
it's not a big deal. That all that stuff cooks off. You can eat hair if you want. It's not gonna bother you.
Yeah.
So
I think that's bringing us to an inevitable end of this video. We've been sitting here chatting for a while. I hope you've enjoyed this. Be sure to check out the Wooded Beardsman, Chris's channel, down below in the description, where you can watch his season 1, 2, and 3 of the Wilderness Living Challenge, and season 4 will be coming along in Adam Craig Outdoors for his having us over and letting us hang out and chat in here, and taking us goose hunting. You can see that video as well down below in the description. And thank you very much, Chris, for having me up here to Canada, hosting my time here, bringing me around to all your special secret locations, and teaching me so much.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming down.
Yeah.
I had fun. I had a blast. I would do it again.
I can't wait.
Anytime.
Yeah, we were talking about maybe even doing one in Maine. We would just sit around and eat lobster the whole time.
Sure.
And just like see if we can't gain some weight by eating. How much weight can you gain by 4 days of eating lobster and clams and maybe some stripers and do some ocean fishing?
Yeah, well, let's open the box of new
just
things.
find all of it. All right, man.
Let's do it.
Thank you. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. I'm Zachary Fowler, and I'll see you next time. Fowler out.